Let me talk for a minute about Donald Trump uh, call himself firing or asking Lisa Cook to step down because of allegedly some type of mortgage fraud. All right, let me tell you what I discovered about a mortgage. Mortgage ain't nothing but a damn fraud to begin with. All right, a mortgage ain't nothing but a damn fraud to begin with. All right, it's similar to a Ponzi scheme. All right, when you try to buy a house, all right, once you get approved, all right, you done picked out the house, you done got approved, all right, now you at the closing, all right, they make you sign a stack of paper about that thick right there, all right, you sign your name close to 50 times, all right, on documents that give them, the so-called lender, all the power. The only power you have as the so-called borrower, all right, is to make your damn mortgage payment every month, just like you pay your rent, all right? Now, the most important paper that you will sign, all right, will be the deed of trust and the note. All right, the deed of trust and the note. All right. Now, they bring a third party in, which is called a lawyer. Or you might call him or her an attorney that claim to be representing you, but you didn't sign an attorney-client privilege contract. But he is there to make sure everything go according to plan. All right, because he getting paid. Okay, everybody at the table is making money except you, the so-called borrower. But your signature on the deed of trust and the note is what make everything go through. So in actuality, you are the lender and they're the borrower, but they switch. They switch you from being the lender to the borrower right in front of your face, and the average person don't even know it. Because they deposit the note along with the deed of trust as cash. Well, whose signature is there to make that fly? Yours, the so-called borrower. See, it's a damn fraud any damn way. You need to fire the damn Federal Reserve. Okay? Or you need to fire the damn banking system. Yeah. That's what you need to fire. Banks do not and cannot lend money. No. They don't lend you anything. You lend them. But they switch, they sort of switch things around. All right. You know, through their fraudulent paperwork. Okay, hold on for a second. Yeah. See, the whole thing, the whole mortgage system is nothing but a claim. I mean, it's nothing but a fraud. All right. When I discovered that shit when I bought my first house. Huh? Through Taylor, Bean, and Whitaker. Lee Fiker was the head of Taylor, Bean, and Whitaker, and he went to prison for mortgage fraud. Huh? Because he was taking property to the bank along with the deed of trust, drawing up a deed of trust and drawing up a damn note. All right, and the damn property didn't exist. Because see, what the bank does with the note is they put the note on the market and sell the note to investors. See, that's how this whole housing shit collapsed. Because of a fraud. All right? Right before Obama came to be president. Obama had to help straighten some of that shit out. Because all it was doing is monetizing note. They monetized that note. After you sign it, the lawyer take it to the bank and deposit that note as cash. And everybody around the table get paid except you. But you were the creator. But they classify you as the borrower, when in actuality, you were the lender. See, because there's no money in this country. Everything is what? Credit. 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 A Federal Reserve note is not money. It's a promise to pay money. And a Federal Reserve note was created by the Federal Reserve. See? All right. See? Let me put it upside. See? Look here. See? That's a Federal Reserve note. And it said right there on the bottom, right there under that seal, said this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. So therefore, there's a public side and a private side. See? This not money. If it was money, we wouldn't have a deficit, which is in the trillions of dollars right now. See? So a bank didn't lend you anything. Because in actuality, you can't lend a debt. See? So the whole banking system, along with the damn mortgage and shit, all of it is a damn fraud. How you can't find no goddamn body? Fuck wrong with you? Huh? If you fire her, you need to fire the whole damn banking system. All 12, shut them all down. Because that's what's going to eventually happen. Because the whole thing ain't nothing but a fraud. Banks cannot lend money. So Trump full of shit. Huh? Want to fire somebody because of allegation of some damn mortgage fraud. Mortgage ain't nothing but a damn fraud. Huh? Mortgage ain't nothing but a fraud. It takes 30 years for you to pay off a house. You ain't borrowed nothing from the bank. Everybody gonna make money off of that note and that deed of trust except you, because the bank gonna put it on the market and sell the note. They're gonna make 5 or 6 points on it. All right. See? And investors, they bought a whole bunch of notes right before Obama became president. During George Bush administration. All right. And IGA, which was an insurance company, all right, along with Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, which is owned by the government, huh, was selling these notes on the market. Yeah. And guaranteeing the investors, even if the so-called borrower that we just spoke about default, all right, on the so-called loan, that they would make everything all right, that the investors wouldn't lose money. See, that's why when the bubble, when the balloon busts, that's why AGI was involved. All right. They insured the what you call mortgage-backed securities. That was bought by Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which is owned by the government. All that shit's a fraud. All right. The banks sell the note as mortgage-backed securities. That's why if you notice, when you got a mortgage, all of a sudden you making payments to this entity or to that entity, and all of a sudden the shit change. Why? Because somebody just bought that note. That's why they created something called MERGE, Mortgage Electronic Registration Service, where all of these so-called mortgage-backed security, all right, which consists of a note and a deed of trust, all right, they created MERGE so investors can go in there, you and I mean, if you want to, and go in there and look at all of these mortgage-backed security that might be for sale, and you can buy one of them. That's why it's called created MERGE. Okay, mortgage, electronic registration service. All right, that's an artificial fiction. That's a straw man. It can only work with somebody human inside of it. See, AGI was the insurance company that insured these mortgage-backed security and guarantee the investors that if the borrower default on the loan, on the mortgage, that the investors would still get paid, as though the borrower was still making his house payment. Now, how does a borrower default? Hardship. They gamble on you having hardship during those 30 years. Loss of job, death, see? In other words, when you buy a house, it takes you 30 years. If you're on a 30-year fixed mortgage rate, that means your ass gotta keep a job for 30 years to make them payment. All right. They figure within that 30 years, you're gonna have some hardship and they'll have to foreclose against the property. All that shit is a bunch of bullshit, man. I've been through it. All right. So what happened when they foreclose against the property? They grab all the chips. They get all the chips. Huh? Whatever you done invest in that property goes to them. Upkeep, add on. Huh? And all if you had to pay if you paid the down payment, or all they get it all. Now what happened after that? After the foreclose against the property. All right. If the property have to have a little facelift, huh? A little repairs, huh? They do that and put it right back on the market and create another note and deed of trust. And another buyer come along, and they take him to the hoop. And he signs another note and another deed of trust and all that other bullshit paperwork that they have. And the lawyer run down to the bank and deposit the deed of trust and the note and pull out the value from the bank and pay off the so-called seller. And everybody around the closing table get their little cut along with the lawyer, and they do that shit over and over again with the same property. That's what caused the damn bubble to burst. Right before Obama became president. This happened under the Bush administration, before Bush went out. Now, who is in the fraud? Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, which is the government, the bank, The banking system is in it. And the Federal Reserve. Because the Federal Reserve, when they came in, all right, in 1913, they started in 1910. They had several meetings right there on the coast of Florida and Savannah, Georgia, and a little place called Jekyll Island. That's how the Federal Reserve got started. They started in 1910 with the meeting, all right, but they got the act together in 1913, okay? Now shit ran on and ran on and ran on up until 1929. Yeah. Shit ran on up until 1929. When 1929 happened, in 1929, they crashed the system. They crashed the system. The Federal Reserve note was backed by silver and gold. From 1913 to 1929. On the Hoover time. The system crashed in 1929, and the financial system shut down. Because the so-called rich people, because you know there was 12 Federal Reserve banks. They crashed the system when they pulled their money out. They went to the bank and said, give me my shit. Because see, the banks don't operate on their own reserves. They operate off of somebody else's reserve. That's how they make their little change. By lending their depositors money and charging interest. I know a little bit about this shit now. See? So the big boys can always crash the system. So when they crash the system, this country went into a depression, a recession, flat broke. The financial system shut down from 1929 to 1934 when Roosevelt came in. All right? And they suspended silver and gold as legal tender. You could not trade anymore. In the system, in the banking system, okay, you could do personal trade, me and you, we could do bartering, stuff like that, but you couldn't use silver and gold in the monetary system, in the banking system. They suspended And if anybody caught trading with silver and gold, they'd lock them up. It's 5 years. And that's when they started monetizing paper, which is nothing but a note. Look at your Black Law Dictionary. Go to your Black Law Dictionary and look up the definition of a note. The Depression lasted from 1929 to about the 1933 to 34. People started coming out of it. The banking system opened up, all right, and they foreclosed on everybody's shit that couldn't pay. Yeah. Trump, you want to talk about a goddamn fraud? You need to investigate the monetary system, huh? From 1910 up to now. You have to fire more. You have to fire more people than Lisa. Lisa ain't done nothing wrong. The whole damn system is a damn fraud. Yeah, they suspended silver and gold as legal tender. 1933, 1934. After 1934, I don't believe you could use silver and gold no more. They started using notes. You could monetize notes. In other words, the banking system or the Federal Reserve did not have to have enough reserve to cover the notes that they were creating. See, that's how come your deficit has gotten so big. Because what this system has done, the deficit that we owe from using a Federal Reserve note, which is nothing but credit, is larger than the cost of the whole United States. This country is actually broke. Huh? Talk about that, Mr. Trump. A Federal Reserve note is a promise to pay. A note is a promise to pay. So is a Federal Reserve note. The only real money in this country, as we speak, is coins. Now, why I say coins is real money? Because the intrinsic value in the coins, coins have intrinsic value, meaning that what they make them out of have value. A penny is supposed to be pure copper. Well, copper have value. Huh? That's why people was going under abandoned houses and stuff. Houses that was built back in the 50s and the 60s had copper pipes, water pipes. And people was going into these abandoned houses, and sometimes going into people's houses that where people still living while they wasn't home with a hacksaw and cut out them pipes while they were going away. Why? Because of the value of copper. Huh? Metal have intrinsic value. A nickel is supposed to be made out of nothing but nickel. A quarter is made out of nickel and copper. A dime at one time was made out of silver. Huh? Back in the early 20s, a dime was pure silver. Now I think a dime is made out of nickel and copper. See? So the only real money in this country is your coins. This, it only have whatever value they give it. That's why they have different denomination. Okay, $1, $5, $10, $20, $50, $100, $500 bill, $1,000 bill, $5,000 bill, $10,000 bill. Yeah. See? So the whole shooting and kabang, all right, mortgage, the Federal Reserve, okay, all of it is fraud, if you ask me. All right, and I'm gonna close with this. I closed on my property, my first property that I bought, all right, in 2008. All right, I signed a note for $90,000. Okay. By the time they add all that bullshit to it, interest, I didn't have perfect credit, so my interest rate was 6.8% ARP. All right. That means I'm paying 6%. I'm paying 6.8% interest on $90,000 every year. All right. So very little of my payments, which was $750 a month, was going towards the principal. So when you talk about mortgage now, you got to understand that there's principal and there's interest. So I'm paying 6% interest. Well, to make a long story short, if I had my house, if I'd have kept it, I lost the house. Okay. They foreclosed against the property. I think it was in 2015. But I'd have been still making house payments if I'd have had the property. I wouldn't have had the property paid off until I reached 85. I'm only 71 now, so I had a little ways to go to pay off that house. Because I was on a 30-year fixed rate. All right. Now, I can tell you how the shit go because I went through it. They kicked my ass out when I got behind on my payments. Well, I got behind on my payment because this country went into a recession under the Bush administration. All right. I couldn't make my payments. I asked for a loan modification, which they denied because they actually wanted the property so they could resell it again. Okay. So they denied me a mortgage, a modification, a loan modification. All right. So after they kicked me out, all right, on a $90,000 loan, I'd end up paying close to $250,000 altogether for the house. You tell me if that ain't a damn fraud. All right. Y'all can do the math. All right. 90,000 at 6.8% interest on a 30-year mortgage. I'd end up paying right at $250,000 for a $90,000 house. You tell me if that ain't fraud. But since I default, all right, I got kicked out, all right, put on the street. They sent me a 10-day notice to vacate the premises. They put the house back on the market. All right, I could have bought the house back, all right, because a blessing came my way right after that. See, sometimes God have to move stuff out of your way to bring something in your way. The house sold on the courthouse steps for $25,000. All right. So, I mean, all that shit is nothing but a fraud. And they've been defrauding the American people for years and years and years under what you call a so-called mortgage. Lisa Cook ain't did a damn thing wrong. If you're gonna fire her, you need to fire the whole damn board. Because this right here, you can't really lend this. When you lend somebody something, it have to have some value. This doesn't have any true value. The only value it have is what they give it. And that's all I got to say, damn it, about that.